Tonight on Fins TV. Is it fair that the Miami Dolphins are getting absolutely no respect heading into the new season? Could the 2026 rookie class become more valuable to this team than the 2025 class? We break down the disrespect, the rookies who could rescue Miami's rebuild, the latest Dolphins headlines, and much more. Episode 74 of Fins TV starts right now.
Welcome to Fins TV. Sammy and Steve in the house. Yeah, the Fins TV kings of Tuesday nights, no doubt. Miami Dolphins football, that's the only creed. At Hard Rock Stadium, we get what we need. The Fins TV crew is here, we're breaking the span. With Sherry, Jason, Matt, and Adrian. This energy is perfect, you can feel the heat. Turning up the volume on this reggaeton beat. No matter what, at least we have each other. Charlie, at least we have each other, Dolphins fans. Through every single victory and every plan. Oh yeah! At least we have each other, Dolphins fans. The Fins TV kings with the mic in our hands. Dolphins Nation, yeah, you know the score. No matter what, at least we have each other. Who could ask for more? Oh yeah, at least we have each other, Dolphins fans. Oh yeah, at least we have each other, Dolphins fans. No matter what, we have each other. About to start. Miami Dolphins, we're the kings, we play it smart. Sammy and Steve, they bring the heat. Big finish energy can stay in your cities. We have each other, we're family. No other Fins TV forever under the Miami cover. Miami perfect, we're living the dream. Fins TV brings the kings of Tuesday, so supreme.
Welcome to Fins TV. I hope it's Sammy, aka Fins Sammy, as always. No, we have a special co-host this week, Adrian Rainey of the Rainy Day Pod. Adrian, welcome back to Fins TV, a bonus episode.
What's happening? It's a rainy day on Fins TV. Let's go.
Absolutely. Adrian, season's almost here. Always close. We had a great panel tonight. Sherry and Steve are on hiatus. You're co-hosting, but we're gonna have a great panel tonight. So you're gonna have a very, very good show tonight. So on this episode on Fins TV, the Dolphins, as Rodney Elliott used to say, they're getting no respect at all. The Dolphins getting no respect anywhere nationwide. But the hope is running high for a lot of people. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the rookie rescue. this rookie class has a lot on their shoulders. I've seen a lot of debate this week, a very interesting debate on other programs about the 2025 class against the 2026 class. We're going to talk about the young core that might need to save this franchise this year. And, the first test, the truly first test for Malik Willis, Jeff Hafley, and the Dolphins, not only because of the pregame, they're going to practice against another team for the first time this season. We're going to be able to compare if they're being good against each other and mediocre with somebody else. So that's gonna be interesting. So the Fins TV crew is not here, but Matt Armstrong from the Fins TV crew is here. Bobby Finstock from FTSN, Curtis F. Spearhead, and Finstanza Evan Posner from FTSN is gonna be here. So we're gonna start with the Dolphins getting no respect.
Sammy and Steve, the crew's alive. No matter what, we have each other. This is the place, forget the bother. Fins up, hearts beat true.
Welcome to Fins TV, it's all for you. Trumpets blaze, the beat goes on. Fins forever, strong and strong. Miami lights, the waves are free. Welcome home, this is Fins TV.
Before the Miami Dolphins have played a single meaningful snap, the national media has already delivered its verdict. And it isn't pretty. Yahoo Sports has Miami ranked dead last. ESPN's Mike Clay projects only 2.5 wins. The Athletic gives the Dolphins a 1.3% chance of reaching the playoffs. DraftKings set the win total at 4.5. PFF ranked Malik Willis near the bottom of the NFL starting quarterbacks. And Sporting News predicts a 3-14 season. According to the experts, Miami isn't rebuilding. Miami is irrelevant. But are these analysts honestly evaluating the new Dolphins under Jon-Eric Sullivan and Jeff Hafley? Or are they judging this team by the failures of the previous regime? Respect isn't given in the NFL. It has to be earned. But has Miami been counted out before it's even been given an opportunity to fight? Tonight, we put the predictions on trial. Is this legitimate analysis? Is it the same lazy Dolphins narrative? Or is Miami really the worst team in football? Fins TV asks the question, is it disrespect or is it reality?
Expectations are all over the place. Adrian. I've seen people saying 10 wins, 12 wins, Super Bowl. That's just crazy. You know me. I believe in the power of positivity, but I'm also a realist. So my hopes are not that high. I said it before, if Jeff Hafley wins, find ways to win miraculously. 6 games, he should be coach of the year with this team. The Dolphins are using right now only 38.6% of their cap. So basically, you know what that means. 62% is not being used. They're already handicapped, by their own doing, by taking run decisions, by cutting Tua, Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubbs, all others. But next year, they're going to have a lot of space. Well, Jon-Eric Sullivan believes in draft and development, but that's why the reason the young players are going to play so much this year. We're going to talk about that in the next segment. But I want to know your thoughts. I want to be in the record by you putting you in the spot by saying, what are your expectations for this team? The Dolphins are going to not respect nationwide, but do you agree with those who basically say, no, the Dolphins are done this year already?
I would. I don't have high expectations, but I am excited about the season. And it's not for wins and losses. It's more for development, seeing how this coaching staff developed this team into their image of to see what the Dolphins can do, really, man. Because Jeff Hafley and Jon-Eric Sullivan, they have a plan, and it looks like they're sticking to their plan. They're very well aligned. They showed conviction the entire offseason. So that makes me happy. We wanted to clean house. We did. And now we're getting a fresh start. So this is what I'm looking for this season. I don't think we're going to get many wins, but I don't think we'll be a 2-win team. Like that's crazy to me. But I do think we'll get some wins. see some development, and hopefully, find out we pick the right coach. We have a quarterback. Let's hope. And develop some young stars on this team, man. I'm very excited about the season. And Sammy, you could smell it, you could taste it, it's in the air, man. We got Miami Dolphins football on Friday, brother.
Oh, baby. Yes, absolutely.
Depth chart is out. Like, let's go. Here we go. This is what we've been waiting for 6 months, 7 months, 6, 7 months. Come on, man. Let's get into it. Let's go. I'm very excited. Let's go, man.
Adrian already, Chef Case licking his fingers. He's ready for the season. I'm not. I do not believe this franchise is gonna be embarrassed. Do you remember 2019 when Stephen Young said that they should be investigated because they're putting players at risk. I basically they're playing a lot of young players. I don't think they're basically tanking, but they face the harsh reality of the circumstances are basically against them by their own doing. Like I said before, they're against the cap, a lot of young players. So we had to wait and see. And like I said before, that schedule is just brutal. You have to be realistic. You look at the list of quarterbacks they're going to be playing this year, and that's probably going to be on our next show on Fix TV 2 weeks from now. But the list is brutal. They're playing one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. They're basically playing next year from, Patrick Mahomes will have to wait and see. Matthew Stafford, Josh Allen twice. Joe Burrow. So Jared Goff. A lot of quarterback competitions. Yeah, Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Too many quarterbacks for the Dolphins. So it's not a matter of basically if the team is just bad. It's the matter that the other teams are just better, are more prepared, are ready, are Super Bowl contenders that have quarterback. The franchise quarterback. We're still looking for ours. We have to wait and see with Malik Willis. That should be interesting. Do you agree, Adrian?
Yeah, of course. And I don't blame the media, man. Like that's what they're gonna do. Look at how many 1-year contracts we have on this team. How many young players, the rookies, like unproven quarterback. Like this is what we're gonna get, man. This is what we're gonna get. So, but we as a community, as a Dolphin community, we know that this team could be better than what they're saying. So, but I agree, man. The schedule is tough, and we are playing a lot of young players, so we got a lot of mercenaries, bro. 1-year contracts, like
yes.
Let's hope they can fight for some wins. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
They're gonna be playing for their careers, for the playing lives. It's gonna be rough. So without further ado, let's welcome a panel. The Podmaster, the reigning, defending 2025 Fins TV Pick and League champion, Bobby Finstock. Bobby, good evening, Bobby. Curtis Ace per head, from Fins Faithful podcast, a panel of Fins Faithful, and of course Curtis Does Dolphins. Evan Posner, Fins Tanza, from FTSN, from the game and the post game show, making his return to the airwaves. Thank you for joining us, Evan. And and of course one of the founding fathers of Fins TV, Mr. Perfect, Mr. Worldwide, Matt Armstrong. Good evening, guys.
Yes.
Hello. I'm gonna start writing that over in that order. Bobby, you're a positive guy, but you're also a realist. I know you sometimes are conflicted because you want this team to be good, do good. There are things that like we talked so many times on Fix Us Today, Thursdays at 9 p.m. The only place to be on Thursdays, Fix Us Today. We talked so many times, the flagship of TSN. We talked so many times about, we had to wait and see if, that level of competition, the problem is that they're facing each other. And, right now, we don't have basically a correct matter how to evaluate this team. So we have to wait and see. But, I know you have some optimism, which I like. But I want to know your thoughts because the Dolphins are basically not getting no respect from the national media, basically nationwide. What are your thoughts?
So I love everything Adrian said at the top there of the show, and listening to what the narrator was saying there makes a lot of sense in what's going on around the league. Talking about these national pundits, these NFL.com, ESPN, and all these people, they're saying, Dolphins only 2 wins, 3 wins, whatever. The reason why they're looking at that, the reason why they're saying that is because they're only looking at on paper. They're looking at the roster. This is not about the roster. This is not about what's on paper, all right? This is about how this team is being built. My excitement has nothing to do with expectations about this season, okay? Again, this is not 2019. This is not Brian Flores, Stephen Ross, who were actually with Chris Greer trying to tank, and they were depleting the roster so they could lose as many games as they want. against Brian Flores' will, whatever you want to believe. The reason why the Dolphins are what they are right now, cutting Tua and trading Waddle and cutting Tyreek, because the team was mismanaged. It was misbuilt. So when Jon-Eric Sullivan, with Dan Silman, brought in Troy Aikman, and they brought in Jon-Eric Sullivan and Coach Hafley, they realized, hey, we got to do this right. We're going to have to strip this in order to rebuild it the right way. And that's why I'm excited, because it's getting done the right way. Let me tell you what got me fired up today was what Jeff Hafley said on Rich Eisen. Okay, he got fired up talking about rebuilding the Miami Dolphins. This is what he said: we go out there and we play harder than our opponent. We play tougher. We play smart. We play together, and we continue to grow this thing and get better. That's not going to be broken. The other stuff is not real. It's not going to sustain. The way we want to build this thing right now is we want to build it right so it's right and it lasts. Not like this quick fix. Let's get all fired up and then it implodes. We got to go get through some stuff together here and there and find out who we really are, who we could trust, and count on things when it gets hard. End quote. Think about this for a second. Last year, or the year prior, but last year, we had Tyreek Hill, one of the top receivers in the NFL. We had Jalen Waddle, who could be considered top 5, top 10, whatever you want to believe. Devon Achane, top 10, top 5, depending on who you ask. Tua Tagovailoa, who had parts in the season where he was an MVP. There's reasons to get excited. But a lot of it, I always said it. I said it to Evan 100 times over on postgame and pregame. It's like a pool with holes in it, and you got to patch it up. They keep plugging in the holes. This is not about plugging in holes anymore. They stripped it to build it right. This team's not playing to lose. This is not about a tank season. So, do I think they could get more than 2, 3, 4 wins? Yes, because that's the way they're playing. They're playing hard. They're playing smart, and they're doing it the right way. I love when he says, we got to figure out, no quick fixes, but we got to figure out who's for real, who's not, who we can trust. That's this whole thing about competition. Okay? If a guy goes in there like Malik Willis, love him to death. Now, right now, the QB2 position is a problem, right? That's all we're hearing. But Malik Willis got paid in to be the starter. If he comes in week 1, week 2, week 3, and he's playing bad, guess what? Just because we signed him to a deal to be the starter, we're not going to keep him as the starter like we kept Tua just because he was the 5th overall pick. Okay? It is refreshing to see a head coach talk like this than talking about his watch or his shoes and everything else. So that's why I'm excited for this football team and the way it's being built.
Oh, you're already getting Evan right up. I had to put Evan on mute because he has a background noise saying he's ready to talk. I'm gonna mute you as soon as your point is here. Sorry for that, Evan, but I can hear background noise. I check everybody was used. I'm sorry about that. So before we go to Curtis, the no respect. If you look at everybody, they're getting no respect anywhere. 72nd rank according to Yahoo Sports. The athletic model has them doing, 4-point wins, 1.3% playoff chance. Malik Willis, according to PFF, the 30th quarterback. And, Mike Clay of ESPN, 2.5 wins, drafting 4.5. And, Sporting News prediction at basically, 4 and 13. That's basically the tail of the tape, if I may. Curtis, taking no respect nationwide. I can understand why. My expectations are not high. But what are your thoughts? Where do you see this team going this year?
Well, look. Respect isn't given; it's earned.
Absolutely.
And for years they told us, "Oh, there's one of the most talented teams. This could be their year." Because most of these people, they don't really dig into football. It's about high point talent, rotisserie teams, things like that. For me, it was clear we were fighting against the cycles since I started doing this in 21. The cycle was screaming fumble was over, but you never heard the big people talking about it. Finally this year, people are talking about the cycle now is running a football, get that offensive line, play action, and that's where we're headed. Hafley and Sullivan, whatever they're going to make out of this, they're actually embracing the cycle. They're gaining leverage. Football is all about leverage. And every position, every single part of it is about leverage. And we were fighting the leverage despite having all this talent. So at the very least, you're seeing leadership put us in position to embrace the cycle, gain leverage. Now, what comes from that, I don't know. I saw somebody in the comments say, tough-nosed teams are very rarely the bottom of the league. if you look at, and I've spent a lot of time doing numbers and statistics, I watch film, but you consolidate information. And I did top 20 in second down EPA play action, top 20 in rush attempts, top 20 in run defense. All 11 teams had 8 wins or more, and 9 made it to the playoffs. If you're able to take advantage of play action on second down, and that usually means you're setting up a first down run of 4 yards, you're able to minimize the opposing team taking advantage of that, and you just slam the football away, you're going to be competent enough as long as you don't wet the bed with discipline. This is why I think 5 to 7 wins, which would be a miracle considering you've got 180 dead million. You flip the team over with rookies. So I think the respect is going to be earned, but it's not the respect some fans want playoffs, postseason, maybe. So for me, from a football standpoint, offensive line makes the NFL world go round. This cycle in league is about running the football, and we got A-Chan. So I'd go more on it, but I'm going to refrain from that. So that would be my take.
Absolutely, Evan. I know you're ready. You Bobby said the magic word.
Ready,
but before you say that, let me go to the comments, Evan. Let me give me a chance to go to the comments. You're gonna have your chance to basically react to that. Hi to Tony. I'd like to see you in the chat, Tony. Of course, Cap for life. Always awesome to see you. The Cap. I wanna read a comment from Robert Mason. Nice to see you, Robert. Very ready to tough. Hard-nosed team because the worst team in the league. This team might surprise team. That's actually a good take. We all agree that this team is going to play very, very hard. So they're going to put some upsets. I'm trying to be a realist because I see that schedule. And for me, it's kind of scary, the teams that are playing. But that's a good way of seeing it, the way Ron is seeing it, because, they're going to basically surprise a lot of people. Tony asking who's the biggest Dolphins fan in the chat. That should be interesting. Leave it in the comments, please. Who's the biggest fan in the chat? Number listed on the pig movement changed the core of the team. That's from Edelman 12. Thank you, Edelman. Robert again. The soft and pretty Dolphins teams are gone. Tough, greedy Dolphins have resumed after a super long absence. Yes, they're going back to the Sammy with the numbers crunch. We're trying, Tony. We're trying over here. Evan, the floor is yours. He said the magic word, so he poked you. So, but before you go back and you mentioned the unmentionable one, please, I want to know your thoughts about the Dolphins are basically getting overlooked. Or they basically deserve a result because it's clearly revealed. What are your thoughts, Evan?
It's a pleasure to see you, Sammy, Adrian.
Nice to see you.
Matt, great to see you. Curtis, great to see you. I don't know who this other guy in the corner is. Am I going to get my pink slip tomorrow, Bobby, because I went on Fins TV before I went on FDSN on my return? Am I in trouble?
Well, it's part of the Alliance. I don't think Mo's going to mind because that's the Alliance.
Oh, good, brother.
The Alliance.
Oh, honestly, for me, the expectations that people have around this team, as Bobby has said how many times this summer, there should be no expectations. My expectations for this team is that anything is better than the last 3-4 years of this franchise. It's not even from the perception of who the coach was or all that. It's a different mindset. The last couple of years, looking at this team, you were waiting for something to combust. You were waiting for something to blow up, whether it was talking about the ping pong table in the locker room, or how Mike McDaniel was dressed, or what helmet was Tua wearing today, or Jalen Ramsey ripping his coach, or would we see a half of a face of Greer? Like, it didn't really matter. Or would Stephen Ross ever fire anybody? So for me, this season is all about taking in information. If they win football games, great. But the one thing that this season will be fun for me is fun, because unlike the previous years where there was this high expectations of winning because you signed Tyreek Hill and because you had the big contract for Tua and because you had Jalen Ramsey and because you had Wilkins and you had all these stars around you and the Waddle and all that, and Teron Armstead who couldn't stay on the field. This is a new foundation of a team. Yes, you have a payroll where you've used up $15 million on 53 players. You have a new mindset. Like, Bobby knows this. He sent me a tweet last week, or he sent me a message last week, which for me, I could have been in the worst mood possible, and then all I heard was 3 minutes of ums. And I said to myself, I don't have to hear this again. Like, When's the last time you heard Jeff Hafley stutter? And it's not about the stuttering; it's about knowing what you're about to say. He thinks about the game differently. You've seen more from Jon-Eric Sullivan in the last week than you ever saw of Chris Greer in probably 4 years. There's a mindset of that they're going to try hard, and that's what I like about this team. It's the fact that they're starting from the ground up and they're not rushing into anything. Like, I'm happy they didn't sign a Stephon Diggs. Like, I want the expectations to be low, because the famous line in any business, and I'm sure Bob, in your role in work, Sammy, the best thing in your role especially is under promise, over deliver. You don't want to set that expectation. That was the problem with the Dolphins the last 3 years, is that there was this expectation that they were going to win a Super Bowl or they were going to do this. And how many times did we have 5-game losing streaks? How many times did we blow key games? We shot ourselves in the foot. So for me, this season is all about figuring out what you need going forward. If you win football games, great. But I just want to see competition. I want to see them compete. I want to see people not giving up. I want to see every player trying to figure it out. Like, I don't think anyone thought who our starting safeties are going to be. I like the fact that we don't know who's going to make what position in what idea. The only concern I have right now on this team is the right tackle. Like, I my new pet project is Austin Jackson. It has nothing to do with anybody else on this team, because every year there's something with him. And the fact that that contract is probably almost as bad as Tua's, because what has he done for us at the right tackle position? We committed to a guy, we reached someone in the draft, and then now he's giving us that sense of Charlie Heck. Now we went to go make a trade with the Patriots yesterday. So for me, the expectations
he's only making like $7 million.
Who?
Austin Jackson?
Yes, because they already paid him his bonus and all that. But they signed him the contract too, right? They could have cut him, but they could have cut him, but they decided not to. They just because next year they'll get rid of him completely. But for
it's
me,
not a horrible contract, but I know what you're getting. If the guy's always hurt, you're getting overpaid. It's not a horrible contract.
He's overpaid.
But
He's
you know,
overpaid for what
if you
he's
don't
doing.
play, you're overpaid.
Exactly.
That's basically the reality of the NFL. I get it.
No, but for me overall, the thing I appreciate about what they're doing on this team right now is that the transparency is there, like, and it's no nonsense, and that's what I like about it. I don't like the fluff anymore. The fact that they're focused on building a team and not overdoing it. You can easily tell they could easily have jumped. Let's go get a veteran wide receiver. Let's go get a veteran safety. Like, I'm sure tomorrow they're going to see Rasul Douglas. We could have gone to get him for $5-6 million. No, we're going to give a chance to Storm Duck to make the team, or we're going to go try someone else. Maybe Ethan Bonner will get a shot. Who knows? Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to hearing Curtis analyze his team to death. That's what I'm looking forward to, because I'm telling you, no person is going to do a better job than analyzing this team this year than Curtis. I promise you.
Before I go to Curtis, I have to go to Matt. Matt, thank you for joining us tonight. You know, I know you're very busy. You know, the crew is not here, so it is more appreciated for you to be here. You know, I love you, Matt, and you're so glad that you're going to be back for Fins TV all season long. So I appreciate you a lot for that. Matt, people who know me know that when you talk about positive person, even people who don't know you over here, where I'm in San Juan, I mention you every single time because you're the most positive person I know. Not only Dolphins related, you know, you're a guy's vision for the world. You know, you're a center guy. I like that about you. I want to, when I grow up, I want to be like you. So, you know, but being serious, you know. But even you know, you're also you're a positive person. You also like to look the good side of things, but you're also a realist. So, you know, I can see you more than anyone saying, like, you know, I understand this team is gonna, you know, go against all odds, but you know, I'm hopeful that I can see this thing overcoming and growing. What are your thoughts about? Basically, we're accustomed by now that Steve is in the chat. We're going to go to Steve in a minute. But, you know, and by now we're accustomed that everybody overlooks Miami. But, you know, this year, that might be right. What are your thoughts, Matt?
Yeah, 12, 13 wins easily this year. I don't know.
I do it. I don't know why all of that, but I knew I'm going to do that. But still, go ahead, Matt.
So Evan just said something that really kind of put my thoughts in a firm mold, and that is, I was sitting here listening to him, and he rattled off some names, and it made me flash back to last week's show when the guys and Sherry and Steve and and everybody were talking about this player and that player. And I honestly had to sit there and go, who are they talking about? Like I'm just as much of a fan as everybody that can hear me and everybody that's on the show tonight. But I literally had zoned out on names. Like that's
Yeah.
how new this team is. That's how fresh this team is, how young this team is. And honestly, that's an exciting thing for me because there are no expectations. I'm going to say something, and y'all don't have to respond. You might by nodding or shaking your head, but I'm going to tell you that the last 3-4 years, expectations in watching games have been miserable because, and Sammy just said I'm the most positive person. They've been miserable because literally of fear of them screwing up on national TV, of fear
Yeah.
of the quarterback throwing when is an interception ideal at any time, of a wide
Arm
receiver,
punt.
just it was difficult to be excited for Sunday or Monday because you
Yeah.
actually were sitting there thinking, God, if they could just win this. And I always flash back to the Titans game. How in the
Oh,
world?
boy.
How in the world? That's the best chance. That season was the best chance that we've had.
Also the division. Yes.
Yeah. Yesterday, I was telling my son about Ricky. We were talking about Ricky and what a phenomenon he was in his first couple of seasons. And I explained to him at one point, I don't know if it's still a record, but at one point, Ricky ran for the most yards of a non-playoff team in NFL history. And I think that was his second year, and I think it was 1,835 yards. And I said, I want you to understand just how inept that is to have a weapon, an absolute weapon like Ricky Williams, and not make the playoffs, even though he nearly went for 2,000 yards. And my son's sitting there staring at me like, how in the world is that possible? Exactly. So the expectations of that team and the expectations of the team from 4 years ago, and believe me, I'm only using those teams as a reference because it's been very, very dry over the last 2 decades. But my point is these guys, there's some guys we don't even know. And to me, that's exciting. That's really exciting because we've got a coach and a GM who are in lockstep. They are both right in tune with what their vision is for this team. And the last thing I'm going to close up with this, the last thing is I don't give a rat's ass about what the pundits are saying about the Dolphins because
You never do.
they're rating teams and then, nobody's even talking about the Dolphins. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, that's all they would do is talk about Tyreek, number one, all of the crap that was surrounding this team. And today, it's an afterthought. And I'm fine
Absolutely.
with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. And I'm going to be fine with that on, September 13th in Las Vegas. Go ahead. Consider the Dolphins an afterthought because I've got no problem with them boys coming home 1-0, right?
Straight
Well,
up.
they're staying out there for 2 weeks because they've got San Francisco. But you get my point. This team is under the radar because there is no flash. Let these guys cook. Let them build. Let them do what they do. That offensive line, I don't want to get hit by anybody on that line in September. Kansas City comes into town on September 27th. Heat index is probably going to be about 110 on the field, at least on the visitors' side of the field in their red jerseys. Right? So I'm so excited about this team. Adrian, Curtis, Evan, Bobby, you've all said stuff that I'm sitting here like, yeah, I totally agree with this. There's no expectation. So that should make it enjoyable, at least for me and my family, as we watch the 26 Dolphins.
Absolutely. Let's go to some of the comments because the chat is burning right now. With the latest trade, Sony has already shown he does not subscribe to You Are More Worried About the O-line than we are. That, you know what? That's kind of funny because I was ready to bash him for that to say, and then he did that trade. You know, that's completely 100% correct. I agree with the fact that he's not standing still. Sometimes we were worried, and this team do nothing. He found a way to move it and do something. Lou and Ash, the South Florida Sports Show. Good evening, fins up. Hit that like button. That has to be Lou. That hit the like button. That is Lou for sure. Good evening, Lou. Thank you for joining us. Steve Haddon. Why are you not here, Steve? You're in the chat. What a great looking crew. We try our best. Yeah, that's for you, Adrian, or for Matt, more than likely. Steve, gonna go, Bobby. Damn.
It's true. I was like,
Oh,
Mr.
boy.
Steve, I thought you were gonna be here, man. Same's like, come on. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna hang out with Steve. He's like, Steve didn't make it. I'm like, wait, what?
I don't know with you two. You cannot be in the same place at the same time. I don't know. Let's go to our next segment.
One year ago, Miami's 2025 rookie class represented hope for the future. Now that future has arrived, and those players must prove they belong. But a new group has entered the building, the 2026 rookie class, selected by Jon-Eric Sullivan to become the foundation of a new Dolphins era under Jeff Hafley. One class has experience, development, and an entire NFL season behind it. The other brings fresh talent, greater expectations, and the promise of what it could become. Tonight, we discuss which group has the better players, the higher ceiling, and the greatest chance of rescuing Miami's rebuild.
And this is the youngest team, if I'm not mistaken, since 2019. So basically, the youth movements here. Last year took a step way back. One of the oldest teams in the league. Now they're back to the youth movement. The last year's draft. That's year's draft they had to perform. I think I saw Doug and Homer and TD Finstock doing a great job talking about the comparisons of the two. Draft classes. And since I have Bobby here and I had Curtis here, I wanted to talk a bit about that. But I want to start with you. Let's do a little bit of a comparison over here. The draft classes were good. Last year, John Savanaya, the offensive class, John Savanaya, Ollie freaking Gordon, as Bobby will say, and Q Nevers. This year, Caden Proctor, Caleb Douglas, Will Kasmarek, Chris Bell, with fingers crossed, Kevin Coleman Jr., So Du Trail, that's the French guy from the European League, and I think it's British. I might be mistaken. And DJ Campbell, the guard from Texas, and the defensive class, of course. Kenneth Grant. Last year, Kenneth Grant, Jordan Phillips, Jason Marshall Jr., Dante Trader Jr., that's Jason Sarri's guy, and Zeke Biggers, who's basically performing very well this year. And the defensive guys, Chris Johnson, Jacob Rodriguez, Trey Moore, Kyle Lewis, Michael Taft, and Max because I don't know how to say his name, so I'm gonna fumble that too. I'm gonna fumble it with purpose. I'm gonna fumble it with purpose because I don't know. So that's the debate. Which is for sure is gonna be you're gonna get the Tolberts and you're gonna have the Tutu Atwells who try to perform, but you're gonna have a lot of young guys playing. If you see those two classes, what your prestation? In which class is your prestation higher? The 2025 class or the 2026 class?
I think this 2026 class has the expectations to blow the 2025 out of the water, like by far. Kenneth Grant really didn't perform like we thought he would. Jordan Phillips, I will say, I saw him in person Saturday. Monster. I mean,
Yeah.
absolute
Uh,
monster. He stuck
every
out so much, bro. So much, especially like the one-on-one drills um with the offensive defensive line. That was he was bodying everybody. And then but this year's class, obviously J-Rod performing well in camp. And then Caleb Douglas, he stuck out a lot also, the wide receiver. He looked like he's a one on the depth chart right now. So he looked like he is definitely gonna be a very impactful player this year. But I would say this year's class definitely has all the makings of that they can just kill the 2025 class. Even though we do have some guys that did perform well from that class. So but yeah, this one it looks good. It looks good. I haven't seen anybody really underperforming. More
ah,
rookies from this class are overperforming than anything. So
I want to be fair because I saw that debate that the TD Finstock and Omar Kelly were having that debate. Basically, the point Omar is making is that a year in the NFL make a huge difference, but I think this class
true.
is far worse. That's a statement that's 100% correct. But I do believe this class not only in volume but in talent is superior. So my
Nice.
expectation will be. My expectation would be that this class is going to perform last year's class, but the fact that they're going against each other already, it gives us some kind of hope, right, Adrian? Because it's good that you're expecting a lot from the young guys. It's not like they're dead in the water. So I'm kind of hopeful about that. That gives me some kind of hope, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I like what you said. Like last year's class, even like Jordan Phillips played a lot. Kenneth Grant played a lot, but a lot of them didn't play too much. Like Quinn Ewers didn't play that much. You know what I'm saying? Jonah was out of position, so we'll really get the real read on him this year back at position that he played. So, but this class, if you watch any of the training camps or like I was at the practice on Saturday, this class is sticking out more than last year, like by
Right.
far, by far.
Absolutely. Bobby, I want to start with you. You are a draft guy over here, and that's the debate that we're having. It's always great that we have some hope in the youth and the young guys, because that means that they're coming up. There is not like it was a wasted draft class. It was a small draft class last year, but when you see the 2025 draft class and this year's draft class, where you're putting your biggest expectation? Last year's draft class and their second year, or this year's draft class with a lot more people and a lot more a lot more talent?
Man, that is a great question and really has to make you think. Um, but I'm just gonna lean this way because I do have. I mean, I've been hearing a lot about Jordan Phillips, and then hearing Adrian talk about it. I'm excited for him this year. Uh, Ollie freaking Gordon, and his second year.
There it is.
And then you got Jalen Wright, who's doing really, and they're going back and forth to that RB2 spot. So the way this team is being ran right now, and the way like Coach Hafley is kind of instilling this mental, the mental part of the game for them, and the way he wants these players, like what he said about Devon Achin, which I think would go for the running backs. But this is just what he thinks of players. I would say, this is what he told Devon Achin. Told him, you better be in good shape. He said, you'll never get the head. He said, you'll never get that head tap from me. I said, don't worry, buddy. After you touch the ball 40 to 45 times, I'm going to have to pick you up and carry you back to the locker room. Like, he's going to work these guys. That is what these guys are going to have to expect. And so the guys from last year, as well as I love them, and I think they're Kenneth Grant, I still believe in all that, those guys are learning that process. The guys that were drafted this year, those guys were picked with a purpose. It's not like these last past draft picks that we've gotten, these draft classes that were, like Cam Smith, who was picked because he's best friends with Chris Greer's son in college. These are guys that were picked. These are guys that were picked because they fit the mold of the type of players that these Miami Dolphins want to have on their roster. You look at the Malik Willises of the world, what he says about Malik Willis, I believe in Malik. I believe him as a person. I believe him as a player. I'm excited everybody to see what this kid's capable of. That's what they focused on when they're drafting. They got football players. It's like, oh, that kid's a receiver. Yeah, he's a receiver, but he's a football player. So what am I more excited about? I'm excited for the whole team, but if I'm going between last year's class and this, I'm excited for this year's class. Look at Caleb Douglas. Look at the noise that kid is making. When that kid was drafted, I was all about Chris Bell. Caleb Douglas I liked, but I liked him later. You know, so I was like, I like him, but I like him later. 6'5", 6'4", 200, something fast. He can do it all. But later on, because you saw something that was kind of inconsistent. Chris Bell was my guy, but we took Caleb Douglas. You, Adrian, Evan, we were at the draft. Curtis, following the draft. Chris Bell was taken later. Everybody was kind of like, what are we doing? Drafting Caleb Douglas? You passed up on this guy. Now look what Caleb Douglas is doing.
He looked like a one.
But it's just training camp. It is just training camp, right?
Yeah.
But he's supposed to be doing this. This is what you want to see out of this kid. A kid has a chip on his shoulder. He's playing hard. He's playing tough. I love it. Caden Proctor, Llewellyn, yes, Max Llewellyn. He was not doing so great, but still, thank you. But that's why I'm excited for this draft class, is because they were drafted to fit the mold of the players that this regime wants. They were picked with a purpose. And you're seeing right now, when you're listening about all these rookies from Trey Moore, Caleb Douglas right now is listed as number 1 on the depth chart. Look what Chris Bell is doing on the sideline. He wasn't expected to be what he's doing right now. Look what he's doing. That's what these guys are about. So I'm more excited, even though I believe these guys, the last year's rookies could do better because they're learning from this new regime. I'm more excited about this class, and I think they're going to be more impactful than whatever those rookies were last year.
Absolutely. Before I go to the comment, please, if you're on YouTube, give us a like, give us a comment. YouTube helps us a lot. YouTube is hard to get dragged in the algorithm. I always proud of the fact that we got almost 400 people watching live. I always proud of the fact that we're live. We're getting traction. We're getting people engaged. But YouTube, the algorithm is a completely different animal. So I'm always proud of the fact that we're getting real people watching live during our shows. Almost 400 people watching live right now. We just hit the 400 marks, so I appreciate it. Repost the post on X, and if you're on YouTube, please give us a like, give us a comment, give us a subscribe. That helps us a lot. I'm gonna go to Steve, because Steve he cannot be here, but he's in the chat. So what we got was leaders, guys who from college performance and presence, who's football and leadership. Yes, and as Jeff Hafley say, Eric Sullivan say about he looked for guys who had faced adversity before. And I think that's key. That's going to be key. When we go to Buffalo, we go to that cold weather where you're trailing, you got those guys who have the mental toughness to try to strive, to try to survive. So I like the fact that they're looking for those kind of guys. I love that from Sullivan. Caleb Payday Douglas, Robertson Fire on the chat. Last year, rookies were disadvantages of being around pegs, being forced into square holes. Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about on Fisto today, the other day, about the fact that this team is drafting for this franchise. They know the players they're looking for, players that not only have the character, but fit the system, and they're going to make a complete difference. No doubt. That's that. Fins up, you all. Nice to see you. No doubt. That's awesome. That's awesome that you're in the chat. So next, I'm going to go to Evan, because again, someone mentioned the unmentionable, but let's go. Let's stick to the point. Let's go to the young guys. Let's go to we're going to have time to talk about that all season long, man. I look forward to speaking to you during the season about that. But let's try to focus on the young guys. I know the temptation is hard, but let's try to focus on the young guys. When you see the 2025 class and the 2026 class, what are your thoughts? Do you have expectation for more one than the other?
Before I do that, who here after that intro, after that last segment, is going to go watch Rocky 4?
I know.
Rocky 4.
How can you not get pumped after that? Come on.
Anyway, if any of the,
absolutely.
And if to just throw to Mike McDaniel, if he dies, he dies. Okay.
Hey, you got to put in his contract, Bobby. He can't mention his name throughout the season, man. You can't keep
I'm sorry, Bobby. You're gonna have to put a clause on the pregame and postgame show that every time he mentions the unmentionable, he has to give the donation to the cancer challenge.
No
you're gonna strive that mark. You're gonna by mid-season for a good cause. I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
Anytime.
Go ahead, Evan.
So everyone made a great point. So in terms of the rookie class, the advantage of the players who are coming in is they have a longer rope. They have a longer leash, I find. So whether you're Caden Proctor, whether you're Jacob Rodriguez, whether you're Chris Johnson, Caleb Douglas, Chris Bell, Will Kuzmarek, it doesn't matter who you are. You were picked, like you said, with a purpose. And that purpose is to develop under our scheme. They are coming in with a clear mind, a clear mindset and learning. The problem with the reason why I have much greater expectations from them, and I don't have as strong expectations for the second year class, is I think that they're behind the 8 ball. And the best example of that is Quinn Ewers. And in watching Quinn Ewers and watching the tape, I'm convinced, and I'm going to not mention the unmentionable, but the other unmentionable, remember what we always said, Bobby? For how many years did I always say that the former head coach of this football team always tried to develop, whether it was Skyler, whether it was Teddy Bridgewater, whether now it's Quinn Ewers, that they had to come in and fit into the square peg of the round hole of the quarterback they were replacing. So if you're thinking about Quinn Ewers, you're thinking about the fact that he had to learn how to anticipatory throw, he had to learn how to spot throw, and he had to develop. Yeah. And now he has to really completely change how he's developing as a quarterback. And I think now also the pressure of being a starter last season with the expectation that he had a chance to compete for a job again this season, being a star at Texas, now having to be behind the 8 ball against a guy, yes, he can compete, but I think that's gotten to him a little bit, and I think he sort of wet the bed a little bit, but I don't think it's his fault. I think it's the fact that he was programmed last year to go in and play a certain way because the coach couldn't get out of his own way. So that's where I feel like the expectations are greater. I will be in a level of disappointment. If you had to say, am I have high expectations of Jacob Rodriguez or Dante Trader? It's Jacob Rodriguez. Do I have more high expectations of Caden Proctor over Kenneth Grant? I have more expectations of Caden Proctor because of the fact that they are able to come in and develop from scratch. They don't know any better about a system. They're coming from college. They haven't learned a system the way that Jeff Hafley and Bobby Slowick are going to present it to them. The other guys were forced to play a certain way because of the way the scheme was designed. So that's where I feel the structure is. So for me though, in the end, they all have to show up. But in the end, the contributors of Proctor. If Proctor doesn't have a great year, they're going to struggle. If Jacob Rodriguez has a great year, I think they can overcome other aspect. If Kenneth Grant isn't what he thinks he is, there's Zach Sealer. If Chop Robinson isn't as strong this year, you have Uche. Like if you're in the backfield, you might have somebody else. Like Storm Black might be able to help out. Whether it's Chris Johnson. Like there's all little players who have been there before who are not second-year players. But overall, for me, that's where the structure is. Like in order for this team to develop, you have to see that most of these draft picks have to hit in terms of development. I'm not saying winning football games, but that's where it is. Like if you see what's happening, like with the whole peanut punch with Jacob Rodriguez or Proctor developing, like for me right away, if I see struggles from Austin Jackson, and I don't want Charlie Heck there, I'd rather put in Andrew Meyer at left guard. I'd rather put in anybody else and then put Proctor at right guard and let him develop there already. It might be a quick learning curve for him, but who cares? That's what you drafted him for. The long-term plan is to put him at right tackle. So if you have to do it in your first year, you do it in your first year. But yes, you want to slow cook him, but in the end, you drafted him in the first round to be a starter. So for me, overall, it is 100% the first years have to shine more than the second years. I have less expectation from the second-year players.
I want to go to Curtis because I've been waiting for a while, but I want to know a comment. Which one of the rookies do you think
having fun, man?
We'll say is the best at the end of the season? I think it's J-Rod on defense and Chris Bell on offense. I know for sure. I'm pretty sure that Bobby would agree with Chris Bell. J-Rod, Chris Johnson is making some noise. The slot corner. I think he's gonna make some noise. It's gonna be interesting. The fact that we can have that debate, I think it's awesome. I think that the fact that we have some hopes, it's not a slam dunk, which basically, it's going to be this and this. We can have an open debate, and we're going to might have to end up agreeing to disagree. Curtis, you're one of my favorite, and I do believe that one of the best X and O's person in the whole community. If you have not seen Curtis, go watch Curtis. He's on Fins Faithful. He has his own show, Curtis Does Dolphins. I think you're awesome. You're one of the best X and O guys out here, and you do a lot of great, you know how to evaluate players. And so this question, along with Bob, is also for you because you have a lot of experience with that. When you see the 2025 class and the 2026 class, what are your higher expectations? What do you think is going to be outperform each other?
Well, first I got to send that $10 for that promo in there, man.
Send it to Bobby CDC if you want to send something. Send it to Bobby CDC.
Look, the last GM and coach, they had a philosophy, a prototype, and a build that they were looking at. It was finesse, it was movement, it was speed. And look, there's a place for that, but the league is no longer where that's monopolized as much. And Hafley and Sullivan, big don't get small. They believe in a different kind. You could see it. We had 3 picks in 2020, and none of them really developed right away. But you're seeing Proctor do some excellent work. I think he's going to shock a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's not one left guard in this league of that. He's stronger than Nelson with the Colts and much bigger, and he has equal movement skills. This is something that, it's a rare find. And it's hard to tabulate because it's on the offensive line. But he's already performing. They moved him to a spot. You're like, Jonah 2.0. He's settled in. And he is collapsing stuff. He's got some problems. It's not like they're not going to be problems. But this guy is going to do something good. And then Chris Johnson. They threw the whole kitchen sink, inside, outside, all the place. And now you're seeing him settle in. You got J-Rod already. Have you ever heard of any veteran saying about a rookie, he's the dad of the group? For Dodson to say that, veterans are serious about the things they say, the accolades and respect and elevation they give rookies. To call him the dad, to venerate him the way Brooks does and Dodson does, that is, I don't think I've ever heard of it in my life. Not saying I've heard every story. And then you get to the next round, and, Bobby talked about it. I was like, Caleb Douglas, I want Hurst. And that was a lot of people like, oh, same old, same old. Now, I don't know what it's going to be, but Douglas is already showing, hey, maybe Daddy Sullivan knows best, and that's true leadership. And to me, Kasmarek at first, like, whoa. And then I looked at him as a blocker, and I started researching. I love this. And now you got Bell coming off injury. Talent galore. So you're talking 6 picks that are showing at least something and more than what we usually get. I like Grant, but he's got a grandma chest. I mean, it hangs down here. He struggles with power. Look, the guy moves like nobody's business, but the game is a game of football. It bothered me. Look, I didn't care last year. I was like, all right, he's young. But you saw Biggers come in chiseled. You saw Phillips, who's already jacked, and he almost has world-class strength. He does. The world record for the press is like 460-something. And he got like 360-something. It's like 100 off, and he did it twice. He came in chiseled. And then Biggers at the end of minicamp is like, I got to lose 10 to 15 pounds. I'm like, hit the chest, buddy. Now, I like the kid. I think he could develop. He's got elite movement skills, but that was the style of the old group. They're going to stay with him. He's a top talent. He might develop. He's got to hit the bench and everything else. But then you got Chop and the same thing. They used to bring in guys that had these flaws, and they said, eventually you're going to get there. I love Biggers. He was my favorite pick last year. But Ollie's already fallen into behind right. Whether that lasts or not, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to last. Ollie's the best pass blocker. Maybe that's a way to push him. But still, this draft class already shines in the early stages, not talking about the future, way more than the last 3 or 4.
Absolutely.
So I'm not saying they go all be Hall of Famers and elite, but if you're getting above average players from that, if you go to the Seahawks top drafts, 4 guys were good. And then they had like 1 or 2 solid guys. That was a great draft. I mean, now some of those guys were all-timers, But already you're not even getting into the back end. DJ Campbell's showing himself. Sadu's showing himself. There's other guys. So I don't want to get too crazy because some of these guys are going to fail. But on the face of it, at this moment, this draft class, aside from Phillips, who I'm very enamored with, is already beating it. And I expect it to beat it long term.
Absolutely. Over 630 watching all platforms on a Tuesday night. If you're on YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a comment. Over 600 on X, so please give us a share, give us a comment. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us on Fins TV on a bonus episode on a Tuesday night. But my perspective for you, Matt, is completely different. When you see this young movement, the word is for the young, of course. And, we saw so many players, so many veterans leave. When you see this youth movement, when you see the rookies at the rescue, and you see the second-year players basically taking over this team, how much I know we talked about before about how hopeful you are in some aspect of the game. But you see those young players, what are your thoughts? I'm pretty sure you see this with a kind of hope, and you basically see the team is heading in the right direction. What are your thoughts, Matt?
It's the NFL, and these guys have been doing this since they were 5. They are doing what they have wanted to do since they realized that it was a possibility for them. So effort, it's the NFL. Money is everywhere, but these guys, they want to prove that they belong. They read. They have a phone that they can see people like us talking about them. They can see Pete Prisco and those guys talking about them as the 32nd worst team in the league. They see that stuff, so they want to prove themselves. And when it comes to last year's draft class and this year's, I want to say something, and you guys can dissect it however you want. I think that they have the incredible pressure to perform this year. Last year's does, because on the other side of this year, the Miami Dolphins have about $1 billion in cap space. So if they don't perform this year, if they don't figure out how to meet the standard, as everybody has mentioned before me, if they don't meet that standard, they can get cut because the cap is going to swallow up whatever they owe. I think that you're going to see some incredible synergy between the two draft classes. They're all going to the same place. That's to get paid, to get better, and hopefully win a few ball games. I'm excited about what 25 can do. 26, just reading and seeing what I've seen. My son and I are going to go to training camp to check it.
Awesome.
Looking forward to that, but I don't want to put those two classes against each other. Let's look at it as a massive draft class, and they're all working to the same goal.
Absolutely. Let's go to our next segment as the Dolphins face their first test.
Preseason football isn't about the final score. It's about finding evidence. Against Washington, the Miami Dolphins will take the field for the first time under Jeff Hafley with an opportunity to show us what this new era is supposed to look like. Will the offensive line play with physicality? Can Miami establish the running game? Will Malik Willis command the offense with confidence? Can the defense generate pressure, create turnovers, and play disciplined football? Nobody expects a finished product in the first preseason game, but we should expect effort, organization, and a clear identity. So, when the clock reaches 0, what must Miami have shown, regardless of the score, to convince us that this team is moving in the right direction? This is the first test.
Nowhere, correct me if I'm wrong, but nowhere so far if Malik Willis is gonna be playing and starting and stuff. But we're gonna be practicing against the Commanders, so we're gonna have a better sample of how he performs against somebody else. So Hafley's message have been clear, very, very simple. Learn the scheme for Malik Williams. He made him stay in the pocket. He knows he can run, but he's being improvised, but he's been staying in the pocket. He had built the trust. He's already told him he's the guy for this year, and given the leadership control that he needs to establish, being the quarterback for this team, get the ball out. Of course, the pressure is going to be there. The offensive line has to perform. PFF has him rated as the 30th quarterback in the NFL, and Chris Sims already put him as 19th, basically close to what he had Tua, because I think he had Tua at 28, so he has hired Tua higher than Malik Willis higher than he had Tua last year. And the percentage of yards per carry is there. The explosive runs are there. The guy is a machine. The guy know how to run with the ball. The guy is gonna be there. He's gonna perform. I expect a lot of athleticism from Malik. I expect a lot from him. I expect a lot of that. So I think again, this team, the rookies are gonna be there. They're gonna have to perform. They're gonna play a lot probably. Bobby, what are your expectations? We talked on Fixer Today last Thursday. The only place to be on Thursday night at 8 p.m. The flagship of Fixer Today. Sorry for the plug. We talk about the Dolphins playing against each other. If the competition is not above what we expected, we're gonna know. So this is the first test when they face the Commander. Maybe not only the game, but they practice tomorrow. What are your thoughts, Bobby?
Well, first things first, I know you brought up Malik Willis. Another thing by Coach Hafley earlier is that he expects everyone who's available to play on Friday. So if they're healthy,
he said he's going to go by how many reps they get in the practice.
If Malik does play, I don't expect it to be long, obviously, but hopefully we do get to see something. In regards of test, when it comes to this team, whether it's on Friday, which again, it's the first time, I just want to see. I want to see what we've been hearing about and seeing in training camp. I want to see that put to test, especially against another team. Yeah, tomorrow's going to be big, but Friday, that's what I want to see. I want to see Douglas make a big play. I also want to see, again, like we're going to talk about this on Thursday night, but also, the quarterback 2 battle. How does Quinn Ewers respond in actual game reps, right? Evan brings up a great point about what, and he said that with Teddy Bridgewater. That was one of his key things about Bridgewater and the Tua situation. So the Quinn Ewers point makes sense, especially when what we're hearing about this year. Like, this is your opportunity to get a shot at the starting job, even though they brought in Malik Willis. But Miami has shown, and Jon-Eric Sullivan has preached about competition. Well, this is your time to make noise for yourself. Because if Malik Willis doesn't step up, you're going to have to step up and step in. God forbid he gets hurt. But you're not, so you're not giving anybody reason to believe. You're giving us cause to pause about you being the backup quarterback. So my thing is, like, that's what I'm looking. That's the test I want to see. I want to see how Quinn Ewers responds. I want to see how what Cam Miller does. The backup running back race. That's going to be huge for me. The receiving core, because I have so much faith in this receiver. Like, I'm more excited about this receiving group, and I'm talking about Chris Bell, Caleb Douglas, Kevin Coleman, than I was about Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Like, I'm that excited for this group. And I think, and again, it's not the finished product. Like everybody was talking about before the season started about Jeremiah Smith. Again, for the next season, if these two hit the way they're looking, look out. But for me, it's just those position battles, and then the right tackle position. That right side of the offense. How does Savannah play in real game competition? What is he going to look like now at that right guard spot? I believe in him, and I love what I've been hearing out of camp with him at right guard. But then you think about Austin Jackson, you think about Caden Wallace now. What's that right side going to look at? So those are the things I'm going to be watching, and again, how they play this week, and then the real test is going to be the week after. The guys that struggle, how do they respond in week 2 in preseason? That's what my test.
Absolutely. Everyone, we have to remember, Jon-Eric Sullivan is a rookie. Jeff Hafley is a rookie. Malik Willis is not a cemented player by any means of the imagination. He's not a rookie, but he's still and he's basically a first-year starter. So, what are your expectations for the Dolphins' first test practicing at the Commanders and going forward?
The only way is up, right? Because they're starting at the ground level, and the only thing they can do, if they don't play well, if they do great, then I think the world is going to start talking about them. That's the thing about this preseason, is that for a lot of these players, this is almost like the regular season for the Miami Dolphins. So a lot of these other teams, they're not playing their players until maybe for one drive in the third or preseason game, and then they're going to play in the regular season. Most of these players that are going to play on Friday are likely going to be your starters on September 13th in Vegas. So that's the cool part about this, is that in theory, we could be doing a regular season pregame show on Friday night, you, me, and Bobby, because a lot of the players who are going to start that game are players that are going to be there on September 13th in their expectation. So for me, the expectation is the practice I'm less concerned about. What they can do in practice, like that's the whole mindset. Oh, Caleb Douglas is able to run these routes in practice. Who's he going against? I don't want to hear that. That every player does well in practice, but as AI always said, it's practice. Some players just aren't so great in practice, and they're better when they play in a game. Or some people need certain reps and then need more practice time than others. For me, it's all about the development. So my expectation on Friday, especially, is to see how I actually have higher expectations from to do the reverse of the previous Sammy that you brought up the great segment before. Is I have higher expectations of the second-year players, like Kenneth Grant, like Zeke Biggers, like Jonas Savaianaya, like Dante Trader. I have more expectations for them on game one, because if they don't show that they're starting to understand the Jeff Hafley and Bobby Slowick schemes, then they might get replaced by other players that are up and comers, who are undrafted rookies, who are players that might get cut off other teams, because you're going to start seeing cuts starting after the first preseason game. The Dolphins might pick those players up. So that's where I am. So I'm less concerned. My expectations actually on Friday, I'm going to be keeping a closer eye on the second-year players than I will be on the first-year players. That's my true expectation on Friday.
We're gonna have the final verdict on which class is better on the next segment on Fight of Fictions. Great point, Evan. Curtis, it's the first test. We're running kind of late. I don't want to leave you hanging. And my season has to go. I appreciate staying with us past the 9 p.m. time. But we're having too much fun. Over 650 watching our platform, so we're having fun tonight live on Fins TV. So, what are your thoughts? It's the first test for Sullivan, for Hafley, for Malik Willis, basically our first-year starters or rookies at their jobs. What are your thoughts about the first test when they practice the Commanders and play on Friday night?
Well, for me, I got to scour X and every place else to get my hand on some film to look at, and it's all jimmy-jammy at different angles and quality. This is the first chance I get to actually high-quality film that I can go over. I don't care about the units so much. I mean, I do. But I want to see each player working within their assignment. What's their technique? What's their response? I did a whole thing last year about in preseason how bad Jonah's technique was, how wide his legs were, how his feet were pointed the wrong way.
Yeah, I remember.
Coming up, and I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy."
You were on the point. Yes,
I thought I was in the Twilight Zone, but now
you called it.
That was an easy one, But I mean, this year though, you look at him, and I saw literal film, and his butt isn't. I hate talking about men's butts, but his butt is higher than his shoulders. You could roll a quarter down his back. He's hunched up. His legs are bunched up. They're brought close together. He just looks. Now he still has the giddy up in his step, but I got to see more. But you can learn from film, and that's what I'm excited about. It's not going to be about how many points they put on, although that's nice. It's not going to be about each individual guy is going to be there for us to get several plays to examine. And we're not professionals, but it's the best opportunity. And then you get another one maybe. And that's all I'm looking for. See if guys are doing things right, to the best of my knowledge. And I'm excited. I can sit here while my wife screams at me, "Get out of there!" And I'm going over the film, and that's going to be awesome. That's what I'm looking for. And I had for years. I was like, I would watch a Dolphins game between 12 and 14 times in slow-mo. The last 2 years, it was like, I know. I'd watch it 2-3 times. It was like it was torture. I felt like my flesh was being stripped off. Now I get to see some stuff that I'm looking forward to, and I think it's going to show good.
Oh man, that's why I love you, Curtis. That's awesome, Matt. We're going to Matt, and we're going to finish the segment with Adrian. Matt, I'm pretty sure you're gonna say it's not the end of the world if they're not performing against the Commanders this week, and you're 100% right. It's only the beginning, but you want this team to start to a hot start, right? When you're facing each other, you want to start with a rookie coach and a rookie GM. You want it to perform as good as possible in the first test, right?
Yeah, make no mistake. I want the Dolphins to have more points than the Commanders do on Friday night at the end.
Always.
People talk about moral victories. They talk about little victories. That's what preseason games are. You can play great. I'm sorry. You can win and play awful. You can lose and play great. It's such a frustrating game at times, especially when you know that there's guys who are going to be out there who are going to be selling insurance in about 3 weeks. It is what it is. But yeah, I want them to win. I'll be watching it all the way from an airplane someplace, I'm sure, and I'll be cheering. I'll be rooting on. There's guys I'm going to be like, who is 37? I don't know the players because there's been so much turnover. There's going to be guys I'm going to be like, hey, that's the guy who's got a butt up near his neck that Curtis was talking about. I remember that, right? So, listen, at the end of the day, at the end of the show, at the end of the night, tomorrow, the only thing I want to do is watch my team play. Adrian went off on a really cool rant at the beginning of the show tonight. I did it last week. Football is here. You can feel it. It's here. And I cannot wait to see this version of the Miami Dolphins.
Absolutely. Adrian, if I don't finish the segment with you, when you see that, it's the first test. It's not, I always say it's not how you finish. It's not how you start, how you finish. But, when we have Hafley, a rookie head coach, and, Sullivan, a rookie GM, and a quarterback who basically has not been cemented to start, every practice matters. And I think they're going to see different competitions. So it will be huge for them to have good reports tomorrow at practice. Don't you think?
For sure. And I'm going to keep it short because I'm just looking for, even in the practice, but mainly the preseason game, I love what everybody said, by the way. Like, spot on, all y'all. But discipline, energy, effort, and physicality. That's all I'm looking for. The entire game. All 60 minutes of that. Give me all of that.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Over 730 watching on platforms, over 700 on X. The Kings of Tuesday Night Fins TV. Please like and subscribe, use a share. Let's go to some fact or fiction. Boy. There's a lot of fiction in Fins Nation. A lot of stuff you see is not what, a lot of people saying. But I want to go back, basically cement what you talk about. I want to talk about, the draft class. For once and for all, let's settle the debate. I think we all of us make great points. But, fact or fiction, Bobby, I'm going to end with Adrian. Fact or fiction, the 2025 draft class is better. Fact or fiction, Bobby?
Better than this draft class?
The 2025 draft class is better. That's the statement. Fact or fiction? Is that fact or fiction? The 2025 class is better than the 2026 class.
That's fiction.
Why?
I said why earlier.
I want you to say. I want you to cement it. I want you to cement it. I want you to be on the record. That's a purpose for this, Bobby. Trust me. Why?
Okay. Again. This class, the 2026 class, is going to be better than the 25 class because this draft class was drafted in the mold of the players that this organization wants to model this team after. That's why, again, they're ahead of the curve.
Bottom line.
I love the comments you said earlier. The rookies, the players last year, it's going to have a little tougher time because you're trying to fit a square into a round peg, whatever the heck the saying is. I agree. Whatever. You need to fit it in, get a hammer in, whatever.
A square peg in a round hole.
Whatever. Tomato, potato. Yes. No, fiction. 25 class is not better than the 26 class because the 26 class is the player. They know what they got in these players, and these players are going to perform better because they know what their roles are.
How about you, Evan? The 2025 class is better. Fact or fiction?
Oh, complete fiction. The 2025 draft class is already a struggle because of what Kenneth Grant is showing in his second year. It's pretty like J Rod is already out dueling him. There's 5th and 7th round picks from last year's class that are out dueling the first round pick from, like, in the end, this draft class of 2025 is in the mold of Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel. So as long as those players have that that fungus, that attached to them, that virus attached to them, they need a year to sort of like cleanse, detox. Maybe in 2027 they'll be a little bit better, but not this year.
How about you, Curtis? The 2025 draft class is better. Fact or fiction?
100% fiction. Because let me put it this way. The sexiest thing in football is an offensive lineman burying people, running that football and stealing the soul of the opposition. You're seeing it, all the teams that are kind of winning, it's all about that. The darn trophy is a running back. And Proctor is not going to be Jonah. He's not even going to be Hunt. He is going to be a guy that buckles the interiors, that gets you those red zones. He's going to uplift Brewer. He's going to help Paul. He's going to set a tone that is going to bring us not to Dan Marino. I love Dan Marino. I grew up on Dan Marino. We've been trying to reach for Dan Marino. You can't do that without Dan Marino. But we're trying to be more like the 70s Dolphins. And that rough style play, that physical beat you down style with a quarterback that's orchestrating and working it, and hopefully a defense that bends but don't break like nobody's business. That's what we're more like. That's what I've been waiting for. I loved Ricky. Ricky was special. You can't have Fiedler. You got to have a semi-decent quarterback. But Proctor is going to set the tone. And for me to have a lineman like that, he's probably going to be the best. He's definitely going to be the best guard since Richie Incognito. I love Richie. But there's going to be more stuff wrapped around it this time. So for me, and also J-Rod, those two guys, I think Johnson will take a little time, but those two guys are going to make you smile. I can almost bank on it. So for me, 26.
I'm going to go to Adrian and I'm going to let Matt go last. Adrian, the 2025 draft class is better. Fact or fiction?
Fiction. And it's all right there, man. What Bobby said, they were picked. Evan said it earlier as well. They were picked for this style, this scheme, this regime. Evan brought up viruses. Maybe Hafley's the vaccine for them. We'll see. Curtis, you made that sound like a love story. I couldn't do anything but enjoy that. I appreciate that. Can't wait to see you go over the film from Friday. It's gonna be awesome.
Thanks, bro.
But yeah, man, they're gonna kill it, bro. They're gonna this class is gonna kill it just because they already got a head start, bro. They starting from fresh with exactly what he wants, and the other than Jordan Phillips, because I think Jordan Phillips is just gonna be cool. Seeing him in person, you go see him live, Matt. When you see him live in training camp, you're gonna be like, "Holy shit! Look at this guy, crazy, bro.
Yeah.
He's crazy."
Yeah. Man, I'm gonna do the same with you. You should be excited. You're gonna see these young guys playing. Then when you think about it, hopefully what we can hope for is basically they try to outperform each other, and by the end of the year we have a young core for years to come. Right, Matt?
Yeah, I'm stoked about this team. I've said that already. I'm stoked to see what this draft class can do for a multitude of reasons that have been mentioned by everybody on the show tonight, including myself. And it starts with the combined, shared, one vision of the front office and the coaching staff. It's exciting because it's fresh. It's exciting because we finally have some of the things that the successful teams in the NFL have with continuity. Even though they've never played one game yet, that continuity has been in place since they got hired. Having that same focal point, that same vision, as a person who is highly regarded in my career field for building teams, I identify with what these guys are doing, and I cannot wait to see the product out on the field. I'm especially excited about Rodriguez. There's been a lot of talk about this kid, and it's intriguing to me. Zach, my son, was nearly named Zach. It's a story for a different time, but that's the place that Zach Thomas has in this Dolphin fan life, and this kid seems to have that same talk about him as Zach did his first couple years in the league. Really excited to see this offensive line smoke some people, just run people over. I don't care if they run it 6 consecutive times to the left, as long as they're pounding it down to the right way. And as Curtis said, feels a little bit 70s. I'm old enough to remember the Dolphins in the 70s, and I'm fine with that. I don't need our offense to go out there and be out there for 45 seconds and then the defense come back on for 8-9 minutes. I need the offense to control the ball. I need the defense to have their breath. I need them to have their rest so they can go back out and kick some ass. So I'm excited. The 26, I think it's a given that the 25 draft class is a step behind simply because they were under a different coaching tree. Let's see if those guys can join the 2016, and as long as we're in the hunt come November, I'm good.
Absolutely. Let's run to the big finish. We are on our way to 800 watching live on our platforms. We are getting there. We're probably gonna get there by the end of the show. So please like and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, give us a like, give us a comment, give us a share, give us a subscribe. It helps a lot to spread the good word of Fins TV. And of course, those of you watching on X, go to YouTube, like and subscribe, share the feed. We're gonna be reaching probably before we leave the 800 mark. So on a Tuesday before the week and bonus show, I think it's great. So I appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe. Visit us at finstv.com. finstv.com is live. We really remind you about things. The Fins TV store is live. So, if you want to, because I look at a lot of people say, I really like your logo. If you go to the Fins TV store, got a lot of stuff on the Fins TV store. So please go there and, join us and, walk around, look at some stuff. You might like something in the Fins TV store. So please visit on the Fins TV store. Before we go, Bobby, other than the flagship, the only place to be on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Fixed Up Today on Thursdays. What you have cooking this week on Fixed Up Sports Night, Bobby?
Tomorrow, it'll be East 10th Street Boys, straight out of Hialeah with Alex and myself. He actually called me during the show, so I had to text him and say, hey, man, I was doing a show. Be respectful. But, no, East 10th Street Boys, obviously going to talk about, we'll continue talking about the Dolphins, talk about expectations for this team and where the expectations should be discussed, what we discussed here. The right expectations, not the record, the way the team's being built. We're going to talk about, of course, the Miami Heat. Thursday, the flagship show. Vince Talk today. We'll have Curtis on with us. And then Friday, I'm not sure yet. Of course, we got pregame. We got preseason. And then Saturday, though, we got our WrestleMania Rewind series continuing on the No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast with Adrian. WrestleMania 17. It's finally here. We're going to talk about WrestleMania 17. And so that's what we got cooking right now at this very moment with FTSN.
So Thursday night at 8 p.m. with Curtis. One more for the good guys. What are you, Evan? You had the pregame show, the postgame show this year on FTSN again. So we're looking forward to see you soon. You basically your return to the Fins Nation Airwaves.
I needed a hiatus. I needed a hiatus. Kids needed my attention for a couple months, but that's what I do. But when Bobby needs me there, I'm always there. I'm always watching. He knows that. And I always predict what you and him are going to say. I'm always good at that. I always know what you're going to say, so it's all good. No, Fins Talk Overtime will also be back in the in the coming week or so, and I'll be waiting for my invite to the pregame show. I had expectations that this Friday at 6 p.m. I'm waiting to have a pregame show and a postgame show. If the other host doesn't want to show up, I'll just start a show by myself. What am I going to do?
Shots fired!
I'm glad you froze.
Shots fired.
Bang.
I'm about to say, I'm glad you lost your internet, you ungrateful.
You and Adrian understand this. This is your warning shot, Bobby. Bang bang.
Oh.
Pew, 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 pew. Oh, pew pew! You know, sort of pew pew pew. You know, again, on FinzTV.com is live. If you're a podcaster, a YouTube live podcaster, and you want to be featured on our Fins Nation calendar, you know, send me a message. You know, we're gonna feed you. We're gonna know where everybody's latest. You know, we're gonna try to have, you know, as much people watching everybody. You know, at least we have each other on Fins TV. Curtis, you're gonna be on.
I saw that. I didn't know what the heck it was. It was like high tech stuff, man. I couldn't.
No.
It was like hybrid.
Curtis,
what is this?
Curtis does Dolphins and. Curtis does Dolphins. I want to know if you have already a time slotted for Curtis does Dolphins, or you basically, you know, when you feel like you jump the show. Because if you have a slot for Curtis does Dolphins, I want to put you in that calendar. You know, you're part of the FinzTV family.
That's the problem. I'm a curio, man. When the spirit hits me.
Exactly.
Yeah. True.
We know. When Curtis does Dolphins, look for Curtis does Dolphins on YouTube. Yeah, you know, X's and O's, everything with Curtis. Even some poetry on there for sure. Some literature from Curtis. Curtis, we know we love you. You know, and of course, on Fitz Faithful with Josh Habara and Jason Sarney. And Matt, where are you traveling this week? You had travels planned for this week?
Yeah, I'm headed to Atlanta tomorrow. Odds are even.
They had to tour.
Yeah, no. There's even odds that I will run into somebody wearing a Dolphins shirt, which means that I will take a moment to preach to them about Fins TV. So,
send them our way, baby. Send them our way.
All the ones I've told you about, I always wonder if those guys ever checked us out. I hope they did. This is one of the coolest things in the world. Not just because I'm on it, it's because of everybody that's on here. We have so much fun, and I've met some guys here tonight that clearly know this sport. They clearly are just as passionate about it as so many Dolphins fans are out there. And before I let this go, I got to say I'm disappointed in Steve Hallett. Apparently, he chose a marathon binge of watching soap operas.
Days Are Our Lives and General Hospital, right? And then there's
General Hospital.
and Days Are Our Lives. We might need a sequel. We might need a sequel of that. So, you know.
Guarantee he texts me before the night's over to yell at me about that. But
I'm pretty sure he left because there's no way he would have stayed quiet after that. There's no way he would have said that. Adrian, you know, Too Rough for SmackDown, you know, everything we did. Yes, our friend Sean Stanley. What do you have this week?
I'm gonna be on Talking Game Thursday night, talking about the
Dolphins.
Thursday evening, talking about the Dolphins. Yeah. On his show. Then Friday, South Florida Sports Unfiltered. We will be going before the game, I believe. And then Saturday, Too Raw for SmackDown, 1 p.m. And then I'm with Bobby and Josh that evening. WrestleMania 17. That's the greatest WrestleMania of all time.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of fun doing that. I'm for sure going to be watching. That should be awesome. So, again, if you're go to FinzTV.com. It's live again. You know, refurbish the FinzTV.com. We've just celebrated 1 year of FinzTV.com. You know, we're gonna keep growing. We're gonna put more merchandise. We had a couple of things going for FinzTV.com, and you know, of course, like and subscribe. We reached this 800 mark. Right now, we're at 826 on all platforms, and so you know, I appreciate you all for watching. Adrian, you're always killing it. Bobby, see you on Thursday. Evan, if I don't see you. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon.
You're not coming Friday night? You're not coming Friday night?
Is there a post-pregame show? I don't know. No one has told me that.
I don't understand. He's forcing you to do this, Bobby. What's going on, Bobby? He is
forcing you to do this.
I have no idea. You know, it's Friday night. He probably has some family chores to do. I'm not going to point that at him.
Are you kidding me? It's pregame show. It's in his contract.
I'm pretty sure Bobby has some plans to ride in his new car he bought for his birthday. Probably long trip for the weekend. He's gonna ride
You
in
got a
the
new car,
sunset, right?
Bobby?
Right, Bobby? Ride, weekend plans, right?
I got I got a new ride, but not because of my birthday. I crashed my car.
It's because the man doesn't know how to drive.
So it's just a coincidence that was your birthday, but
That's right.
It's just
Yeah,
a coincidence. Yes, okay.
It's been a
Curtis,
great month.
always awesome. Keep killing it with George and Jason. You're always welcome here. I love you. And Matt, safe travel. Say hi to Tua from us from Fin TV.
Man.
So in the immortal words of Fin Sammy, at least we have each other. Fins up.
Fins up.
Thanks for watching Fins TV. Please like and subscribe. Up.